did you launch him 80
You
feet
told
in
me
the air?
to boat flip him!
I didn't tell you to launch him 78
I
feet in
flipped
the
him
air.
in the boat, didn't I?
Send it to the moon.
I sent it! You said boat flip him!
Oh, yeah.
Do you fish? No. You know, people who don't fish think that fishing is lazy or boring, but it is the complete opposite. There are 100 little decisions to be made, variables to be considered, and you're never quite sure what made the difference. Did I cast too high, too far to the left? Did I reel it in too slow or too fast? Is the lure too shiny or too dull? Do I stay here or should I go over there? And you know it's not luck, but you do not know by how much. Because I am never, disappointed out here because I don't expect anything, because anything is possible. I can be hopeful out here, even in failure. Because I know if I just go out there around that tree, it might be different. Something might be different. Something I do might make a difference.
On my property, you didn't win in my yard.
Wait.
All of you.
Daddy, chill.
What the hell is even that?
You're listening to Fishing the DMV with your host, Thomas Ahrens. Fishing the DMV is brought to you by Jake's Bait and Tackle, located in Winchester, Virginia.
If that doesn't get you jacked up, I don't know what will.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Monday Night Live. We are on episode 29. We have not missed a Monday in 29 weeks. This has been absolutely insane. I cannot believe how consistent we've been. Let me know in the comment section below, how does my audio sound? Making sure that it's not too echoey or anything like that. There we go. Perfect. So yeah, let me know in the comment section, how does my audio sound? Making sure it sounds okay there. We have a really cool guest tonight. We actually did a live stream the other day, believe it or not, on the old Lake Frederick, the place that men fear. I hope we hear from Boyd Duckett tonight. Boyd Duckett tonight, Jr. Yes. So guys, basically this is how we're going to be going around this. We will be doing a call-in show. We have the number all set. We're going to do our intro first because the last time I did the call-in show, I was immature. I didn't realize don't put the number up first because all hell breaks loose. So we're going to save that till the end of the show. But like always with all these Monday Night Lives, if you ask a good question in the comment section and I pick your question, you will win a gift card to Jake's Bait and Tackle. You're going to win a $5 gift card to Jake's Bait and Tackle. It's quite easy. You ask a question and then you enter automatically to win. And I will be randomly picking questions as the winner tonight, as always. Last housekeeping thing. Next week is our 2-year anniversary of the show, 2 years. And we're going to be from Jake's Bait and Tackle with 2 special guests for the live stream. So that will be, and this is some shit I should have written down, but I don't do that ever. That will be... What day is it? That'd be the 27th. So next Monday, the 27th, we'll be live from Jake's Bait and Tackle for the 2-year anniversary of the show. And then last piece of housekeeping is our Patreon is absolutely taken off. Thank you guys so much. I'm cutting back to only 1 show a week until we hit 100 Patreon supporters. 100 Patreon supporters for all the work that we put in here at the show. And we're at 54. So we're more than halfway there. Once we hit 100 subscribers, I'll be going back to 2, 3, 4 shows a week. No problem. But until then, all we need is less than 50 Patreon subscribers to get us back to where we need to go. Now all the housekeeping's done, all that boring crap. Without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend. This guy really tamed a lake that men fear. When NVKBA went there for the championship, it was frustrating, but not for this guy. The man, the myth, the legend. Ace, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
No, don't say that, buddy. Too good of an introduction there.
Guy, I gotta hype you up. I mean, what you were doing on that lake. So, guys, a little bit of let's give a timeline here. Last fall, we interviewed the guy at the bait shop at Lake Frederick, and he really told us about the blueback herring, and that opened up my mind to the way that these fish could potentially be caught. Fast forward to last winter, and you are blowing up Instagram with some of these insane catches that you were pulling out of that place.
Yeah, it like you said, it definitely has something to do with the blueback because I'm just out there sniping them. I mean, just constantly on the move. It was a little different. We didn't move as much when we went out yesterday. But yeah, that's all I'm doing out there.
Like, before we get into Lake Frederick, as always, how did you get into fishing, especially in Northern Virginia? I mean, we all know cash burn, and basically that's what Percival and Leesburg are becoming, is basically cash burn 2.0. A lot of people would think that there's not a lot of fishing opportunities. So how did you get into it?
Well, I got into it with my brother, Matt. We used to go down to Lake Caston all the time. And my grandfather actually had a 12-foot plastic boat that my dad let us take out. And we would be gone for 12 hours a day. And we'd go there about every weekend and or every other weekend. And that's really how we got into fishing. And then once we got back here, you'd walk the Potomac here and there and fish or hit some ponds. I mean, I even remember hitting a pond along a bike path at one point. And I mean, that's just how we got into it.
And then from there, you go from beating the bank down at Lake Gaston to fishing a lot of tournaments up at the Res. Like, what was that transition like?
That was tough. Our first tournament, we went out. It was pouring rain for the entire tournament, and we're in that plastic dinghy too.
Really?
And we thought everybody struggled. We're like, oh, okay. Yeah, we didn't catch anything, of course, because that place will humble you quick. And when we got back, I think they broke records that tournament. Somebody weighed in like a 7-pounder. And at that time, we were like 14, 15. I might have been 13 at the time. But yeah, it was wild, man. But we just stuck with it, and we eventually started catching them, finding spots and stuff.
When did you get that first? When did you evolve past the plastic boat to the John boat?
We were at the Res. So I think my dad saw a poster up at the house that they have there, or like the little marina place. And it was like $300 or $400. It had a little 9.9 on the back. I think it was a 12-foot. What was it? I forget what type of boat it was exactly. I'm sure Matt will put it in the comments here in a second. But I mean, it was what we had at the time. We made it work.
I think the interesting thing about this interview, when I was thinking about this, is how I wanted to approach it with your brother, because I understand I have a brother too, and this is your episode here, but also it's immature just to ignore the other fact, and I think that's so interesting because it intertwines everything into the story here. Your brother is a content creator. He's a YouTuber, SB Fishing, and from your perspective looking in, I guess the first question is: Are you the youngest or are you the oldest? And then how did that dynamic grow over time?
No, I'm the second. There's 4 of us.
I keep learning more about you every time.
Oh yeah,
I've known you for 5 hours and I didn't ask that.
Yeah, no. But yeah, I'm the second, and it's my brother and I. We fish together all the time, and that's how it really grew from there.
Starcraft.
It's funny. Oh yeah, it is a Starcraft, and if you put it, it was 12 feet. I think it was
12 feet.
Yeah, but it was funny. So we took it out. It was completely empty, and we took it out in the Potomac, and we were running it with my brother and my dad, and we were hauling. I mean, we were moving quick. And then we built the deck. It was all plywood. And once we got into it, we were doing maybe 10, 12 miles an hour.
You rolling, man. You're rolling down the river.
Yeah.
Oh.
But hey, if McCluskey's watching, he knows you don't need to move fast to win those tournaments out there. You can win it right next to the ramp.
A 12-foot boat, though, dude. So if you guys don't know, because it's hard along these videos, and the first thing people say is like, I'm a lot taller than people think. I think it's the camera angle. I'm about 6'1".
I didn't say anything, but as soon as you got out of your truck, I was like, oh, this dude's big.
Yeah, I for concept, I'm 6'1", and I'm built like a running back. So when I hear people saying like, oh, I'm in a 14-foot John boat, 12-foot John boat, I feel like I'm one hook set away from us all drowning. Like, I don't think I could actually.
Next time we go out, we can take my John boat and see how that works out.
Hell yes, that's great. Yes, on the next episode of I Shouldn't Be Alive.
Yeah,
but anyway, back on track. So, how did you guys then evolve? Did you start fishing more than, I guess, as his channel started to kick off? Were you guys sharing a boat, and then you had to find like another place to fish? Like, how did that all work?
Well, he was the one who had a John boat at first. I didn't have one for a long time. So he ended up getting, it was like a small 12-foot John boat, and we fished the Res in it. And anytime I would fish, it was on that boat. So
Starcraft, then his boat?
Yeah. So okay. we had that Starcraft for a while, and I honestly forget what happened to it. Then he got his John boat from a buddy, Trevor, of ours. And then we got back into fishing the Res tournaments. So we fished out of the Starcraft for a while, kind of stopped fishing for about a year or two, then got back into it when he got his John boat. And then from then it just took off.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's such a family affair. And I know that because I fished high school and college tournaments with my brother. What is that like, just at competing with your brother? Is that how do I word this? When my brother and I fish together, we're an interesting couple because of our styles of fishing and how we can feed off of each other for positive and negative. Is that something that really has changed as you guys have gotten older? Has it gotten easier to fish, or has it always been the same way?
We share the same brain. We'll fish a tournament, and like we're going down a bank, and I'll be like, oh, okay, this spot looks good for like just say a crankbait. I look over at Matt, he's picking it up. And I was like, dude, that's exactly what I was going to do, or vice versa. And it's been that way ever since, because we fished together so much. We know each other's ways. Like, okay, I'm going to throw this here, I'm going to throw that there. And we just have the same brain when it comes to fishing.
Is that a positive or a negative as you get older? Do you feel like you get into a lull?
I guess it could hurt in a tournament aspect, because you kind of want to do different things until you key in on what they want. But we're always changing stuff around. So, I mean, we figure it out sometimes, not all the time.
You guys did pretty damn well. You gave McCluskey a run for his money.
In the classic we did on the first day. It was close, but you know how he is. There's no beating that dude, man. There's no beating him.
Matt, I know you're probably listening, but you know it's the truth. You're the Terminator out there. He's guys. If you don't know, there's a guy that's actually he's won once or twice out on the res, also known as Occoquan Reservoir. So that place really is, I think, the mecca for fishing in Northern Virginia. But there's other places too. Lake Frederick. How did you key in on that? How did all that go down?
So like I said the other day when we were on the boat, it all kind of started. I fished it a couple times because I lived out in Winchester for a little while, and I went out and I was just beating the bank because I didn't really have live scope. I had, what was it? It was like a Lowrance 12. It was a super small black and white graph, and basically all I used it for was depth and water temp. And got a cat meowing at me here. And then after that, once I got live scope, I kind of took what my brother and I did down at OH Ivy earlier that year, and then used that on Frederick, and then it just started working. I mean, fishing way deeper than I ever would have. And sorry, camera's shaking.
And that's what's so interesting about that place is if you guys don't know, Lake Frederick is not that big of a lake. All in all, I mean, I think Lake Mooney's much bigger. Hunting Run Reservoir, places like that is way bigger than it. But it has like a fishbowl thing going on. At the base where the dam is, it's probably 40, 50, 60 feet. Like it's super deep. And then there is this introduction of a species, the blueback herring, that are actually in there, which is really odd for such a small place. And that's a very pelagic bait fish species. For the people that follow the channel, you know how much I've talked about that from fishing the Carolina lakes. When I say that they're in there, it's clouds of bait that have pulled these fish off the bank, and they're basically pelagic, 100%.
Yeah, like I talked to you the other day, I wish that grass was in there, man. I think it would be even better than what it was.
Mm-hmm. No,
what it is.
Yeah, I agree. I really tend to agree with that. I think the interesting thing about the bait, though, is I remember all the time growing up, there was grass, and then then when the grass carp were in there, it started to get eaten away, and then the grass disappeared. And then everyone just assumed that there's no more bass in there. The bass are gone. Nope, they're there, and there's a ton of them, and they're big as hell.
They're hiding. They're deep. They're hiding and they're deep.
What is your PR out of there?
9.7 is like 9.78, something like that. It's up on Instagram, but I had the actual weight, but I want to say it's 9.7.
When did you catch that?
I want to say that was late February. Is when it happened. Wow. It's either, or no, sorry. It was late January, early February is when that happened.
Let me pull that picture up there for everyone just to be able to see this bad boy.
Find it real quick.
It's absolutely. I think this is the one. Let me pull this up. There we go.
Terrible Wi-Fi down here.
Let me know if that's the right one.
Yeah, no, that's it. And what's funny is that my daughter was in the boat when I caught that fish.
Oh, really?
And yeah. Because typically when I go, because I've got 3 kids, so when I go out, I tell my wife's always like, okay, you got to take at least one of the kids. So I was taking my daughter, and when I hooked into it, I told her, I was like, please back up, watch out. Something. I was like, I got to grab this thing.
Did you boat flip it, or did you go down to your knees and just like grab it?
I went down to my knees and grabbed it.
Good Lord.
I can't boat flip it because she's in the back of the boat, and that's an A rig that I'm throwing.
Oh,
So
I didn't even
there's
think of
no
that.
way. Yeah, and they're still pretty young, so they get scared when a big fish is flopping around the boat.
You got to have some good stories. Have they actually gotten their first fish, that first memory?
Yeah. So my daughter caught her first fish out there when we were bed fishing. So I had a little dark sleeper and I put it on an ultralight and was like, okay, I'll cast it in and I'll tell you when to start reeling. And as soon as it hit the bed, it just, boom. I was like, okay, start reeling. Yeah. But
She must have been
my
crazy.
son, he's still a little too little for it because I've been pelted with some lead in the back of the head and hooked from him. So I'll hook it and then let him reel it in when we're out there. Unless I feel it's a giant. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. I think we talked about this on yesterday. Wow, it really was yesterday. Getting kids hooked on fishing and how long they can stay out, and that is such a you have to be mindful of that, as whether you're trying to be if you're a parent or if you're a fishing coach, something like that. They can't stand to be out there for 10 hours, staring at a graph. They're going to get burnt out. They're going to hate it, and you got to make sure it's just enough.
Yeah, I mean it's tough because my son who goes out with me, he's 3. And like I told you yesterday, he's good for like an hour or so, but you just got to bring snacks and dress him warm. Because it was maybe 40, 50, no, I'd say 40, 45 degrees. And I just put a bunch of jackets on him, put him in the back of the boat, and he's excited to be out there. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's a trooper.
When do you think you can start fishing tournaments then? How old is he, by the way?
3. So it's going to be a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Matt doesn't have anything to worry about. He still has his job.
He gets upset every time I leave. Like when I left yesterday, he saw me getting ready and he was like, "Where are you going? I'm coming with you." I was like, "No, buddy, awesome. not today."
Dude, that's freaking awesome. I mean, getting them hooked in this stuff is so important, especially in Loudoun County, because that place has gotten so weird. I call them hipsters, but they're just not the locals. Like I grew up in Western Loudoun where there was a lot of farms. My parents had a farm. And to watch that slowly get eaten away with just all these buildings and stuff, and you lose that hunting and fishing mindset. And, if you go to Valley High School or Woodgrove High School now in Percival, you wouldn't even know that's a thing unless your family introduces it to you.
Yeah. And I try to get them out every time I go, but I don't know, this winter I might be a little reluctant.
So now let's I know you guys are just absolutely flooding the comment section right now, and we're definitely going to get to all your questions here. As always, let's talk Woodbridge. Ooh, that's a good one. Let's bring that one out. Phyllis Adams, let's talk Woodbridge. That's got to be a good question. And then for everyone that just joined, we got 35 people watching right now. Please like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out in the algorithm. This is how it works. Ask a question down below. I'll pick them randomly, and you'll win a gift card to Jake's Bait and Tackle. Ask a question, win a gift card. That's how this works. So this one right here is, let's talk about Woodbridge. So what does that mean?
No idea. What is Woodbridge?
Yeah, let us know down below. What is Woodbridge? We have a good one here. What was the water temperatures at Frederick? I think it was 52, 55?
52. It was
52 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And what was interesting about that day, and this is the one thing, guys, which is kind of cool. We were lucky enough to be able to do a live stream. Was just, I wanted to try it because my wife works on Thanksgiving, so I'm probably going to go out Thanksgiving or Black Friday and do a live stream there, but I wanted to even see if it worked. So I was just wanting to see how it worked, and we ended up keeping the camera on all day. But what was nice is we got to be on the water yesterday to be able to talk about it today. The fish were way more active, and I think this is very important for fishermen. The fish are way more active in colder water than you think. When you think 50 degree, 40 degree water, you think they're going to be sandwiched on the bottom. Some fish we saw on live scope were moving, like booking it.
Yeah, no, that's what amazed me too when I was out there in the winter. Like that, I told you that 9-pounder chased my A-rig 40 feet before it bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it moved a lot quicker than the fish that we saw yesterday, but they move fast. And you saw when we were throwing the scrounger around a little bit, they bolted on it.
They did. And I want to bring that up too. Like when we started that day out there, why did you pick the scrounger? And actually, if you could bring that up, that'd be awesome.
Just because it's clear. I don't know, ever since fishing the res, it's not really clear now, but fishing clear water out there for some reason, it's worked for me. I mean, I don't fish normal like other people. I'll throw crazy stuff when you're not even supposed to, and it just sometimes it works.
How did you get onto the scrounger though? Because that seems like a very much a Tennessee TVA system.
The only reason I know about it is because someone in the comments there, John Hudgens, please raise your hand. So he got my brother onto it, and then since then I've been throwing it here and there. But other than the A rig, I feel like sometimes they'll get spooked by the rig, and then you just throw that single bait, and they'll attack it.
That was interesting to watch in the and
Ideally.
You got John Huntington right there. Ideally, that was something interesting to watch on the scope. Was while you were throwing the A rig and the scrounger, I was trying to go on the other end of the spectrum and go super subtle spy bait, because I guess it's my brand now. And then I was throwing a Demiki rig. I had so many fish. I swear to God, a couple of them looked big, and I'm picturing it was like 4 or 5 pounds. They would nose up to it and either just grab the tail or just breathe on it, and that's it. Couldn't get them to bite. But somehow in that clear water, you burning that scrounger got some reaction bites. It looked like they hit you pretty hard too.
The ones that did bite, they did. But when you're out there, and if you're going to scope them, you'll probably have 60 fish. If you go out in a full day, they'll just sit right behind it and follow all the way to the boat, and they'll just disappear. But sometimes if you can follow them, you'll see them shoot down to the bottom like they did yesterday, and you can keep on hitting them. And I found that you can get them to bite. You just have to keep pissing them off, I guess.
What depth range are you looking for when you're out there? Or is it basically whatever the live scope tells you to do?
If it's dead of winter, I'm looking at 20 to 25.
20, 25?
So, yeah. Like yesterday, I'd say we caught them in about 20, or they were coming out of 20 feet. The week prior, I caught a couple in 25 feet. So they're there. I just don't think they're ready yet.
And I think this is another thing that in the comment section got me spurred on. And, I showed you the message, and we talked about that a little bit off camera. And one thing I think it's interesting about live scope, this is the thing no one talks about. Everyone wants to talk about the sniping because it's cool, it's sexy, it's the big glamorous thing. I think live scope is the information you get to either make a decision to leave or to make adjustments. We got into an area of the lake where those fish, if you didn't have live scope, you would think it's gone, move on. With live scope, we figured out within 15 minutes that they were doing a circle. They were literally, if you watch the boat and you speed up the live stream, we just spiraled the boat trying to follow them, and they were just doing a loop. And Ace, I was telling you out before the show, it's like what we should have done is just position the boat on that angle and just stayed locked there and just kept making the cast and waited for them to come back.
Just
without live scope, you wouldn't have done
track. Yeah. And I wish we would have found it earlier, because that group of fish that we found definitely would have eaten the rig or the scrounger or whatever we threw in there. We found it at the end of the day when I had to leave. So it could have been fun.
I think it's going to get better as it gets colder out. One question really comes down with the A rig. I'm not good with that. I've never fished it a lot. Bouncing between Maryland and Virginia, guys, it's not an excuse, but dealing with different regulations there, I just never got really into A rig fishing. What are some tips and tricks just for people trying to start out with A rig fishing?
Just cast and pray. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, I wouldn't throw it if I didn't have live scope. It's very tough because there's so much stuff on Frederick to get hung up in. You could easily lose $300 out there in a day. You definitely need live scope out. I mean, I guess not if you rig it weedless. I mean, I do. It's very unconventional, but I can do it that way, especially if I'm fishing those deep brush piles. I'll do it because if you're using live, you don't know, like it looks like your bait's going directly through it, but you could be off to the side. So if I'm going to fish those, I will rig it weedless. So if I do go through it, I'm not going to get hung up.
That's really, really smart. How do you weight it to actually get it down?
Let me show you real quick. I'll show you what I throw on.
Oh, this is going to be the juice.
So,
here's the folks. Here's the juice.
No. If I'm rigging it weedless, and again, I'm very unconventional. I'm throwing, let me see if you can see it. On the quarter, that's what I'm throwing. and I'll throw these swim baits. Let me see what I got them here somewhere. Sometimes I'll throw smaller ones, but I'm definitely throwing the Kitech Easy Shiner. Now, this, I'm not going to tell you the color. This isn't it, but that's what I'm throwing my teasers on. And then the main one on the back is just a 4-inch Kitech, same thing. It's bigger than 4. I think it's the 4.8, but all white on the back. I'll give you that, all white on the back.
Blades or no blades?
Blades. Because I'm throwing the which one am I throwing? What is it here? It's the Young. That's the one I'm throwing. So I don't have it here. No, but it's just because it came with blades, dude. It had it on there, and I was like, I'm just going to chuck it. We
got some good questions here. So we got Matthew Foreman. You just want a gift card to Jake's Bait and Tackle. I think I got your name right. I'm sorry. I have issues with speaking. What depth do they usually sit around in Lake Frederick this time of year?
Oh, man, this time of year, like we found them in 20 feet. You can find them shallower for sure. I just haven't been able to get them to bite.
We tried Ned rigs. I tried a jig.
Yeah, you tried a ton of stuff. You fished it way different than I would, because you would throw something, grab a different rod, throw it out, and I'm sitting there with the scrounger and the A-rig. I had 4 rods on the deck, but I really only threw 2 of them.
And one question I've gotten a lot is like, why do I flip so much? Honestly, it's doing team tournaments so long. If I know the A-rig is going to work, I want to keep trying different things to see if there's another bite going. And because I now have live scope, if I don't get them to react, I'm not going to stick with it very long. The Demiki rig was weird because they weren't ignoring it. That was why I feel like, again, I watched the live stream just to kind of check myself to see what I did wrong. They kept nosing up to it, which made it really hard for me to say, like, no, I didn't want to fish that anymore. I thought maybe one would eventually commit. They just never freaking did.
I mean, if you go around that place, you definitely find some that would. Because like I said, I'll stick with one bait throughout the day because I know they'll eat it eventually. And you definitely could, but you did the right thing by changing bait sizes too. Because again, we didn't know what size those blueback were. And
that's going to be a good question that we'll bring up here. And then SB Fishing said, Yum Flash Mob Jr.
Yeah,
there we go. Yum Flash Mob Jr.
That's my juice.
And we got this one here by Travis Cyber. Magnum spoons have been catching good fish on Frederick if you don't get them stuck in the 500 brush piles that are in there. I think Mr. McCluskey actually did that last summer. He dropped the Magnum spoon there. And I think you were even mentioning that.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. He's definitely caught him on it. I've had him dance all around it, but I just can't. I've caught a couple, but not as many as he could if he went out there with it.
The bait forage size there is very interesting. Blueback herring can get almost 10 to 12 inches long, depending, like Murray or Lake Hartwell, they can get massive. And they're just super long, like snakes. How does that adjust your bait size? You said like if they're bigger, you throw bigger baits, right?
Yeah, and I will throw I'll throw the Magnum fluke on a scrounger, and I've caught him out there with that too. And it's, what is it? That's 7 inches. That's a massive fluke.
Do you got one we can show off?
Yeah.
I heard the bag.
Yeah. I got my, as Matt would know, it's called a death bag. It's just all the lures I throw into a bag at the end of the day.
Oh, wow.
There we go. Let me see. Yeah, 7 inches.
Damn, that's insane. Oh, and then I don't think I asked this. How heavy was that scrounger head you're using to get down to 20, 30 feet of water?
The smaller one I was throwing was 1/2 ounce, and then the bigger one is 1 ounce.
Damn, I did not know they made them that big.
Yeah.
That is something.
It's hefty. It's huge.
I got to get into that. That's something I never got into the scrounger stuff. I always thought that was a TVA lake system kind of deal with those scroungers.
It works, man.
Let's see. We got HP Fishing. Nice to see the smarter half of SBTV dropping some knowledge. Do with that what you will. I'm not touching that one.
That's your all's buddy.
Yeah.
I know who he is.
Montclair Lake, Occoquan, and then, oh my God, Lake Turpentine, something like that.
I've got no idea where that is.
Yeah. Montclair, Lake Occoquan. And that's a good question. Like, what are some other lakes in Northern Virginia that you fish that are public knowledge that are decent in the wintertime?
Dude, I can't really get out much. So if I'm going out fishing right now, it's either the Res or Frederick. Like I've gone out to Shenandoah a couple times and fished for smallmouth out there this time of year. Right now, maybe late October and now it's pretty good. At least I've had good luck out there with McCluskey. We went out there and had a 60 fish day. I mean, it was insane. We were throwing one bait all day. Matt figured it out, and it was every other cast we were catching something or getting bit. I mean, it was wild. But other than that, I don't get out too much. So when I do get out, I'm trying to go to places I know where I can try to catch a big one.
Wow. And that's what's so important this time of year, guys. Just get out there and you can actually, I know, guys, I know. Sorry, my other comment section is blowing up right now as well. It's so important to get out there in this winter and to find specific areas that you're going to have success. And the other thing is don't spend too much time. I think that is the one misnomer about wintertime fishing. Don't sit in one area and just milk it for all it's worth. Move around, find some more active fish. And that's what we did. And without live scope, you need to be doing the exact same thing. If you watched what we did yesterday, we didn't camp in one area. We gave it a couple of casts and we moved. And that's what you should do, whether you have live scope or you don't have live scope. It's very important not to get locked into the idea that it's cold, therefore don't move.
If I didn't have it and I was out there, I would go to every single point and just fan cast it, move to the next. That's what I would do.
There's so many trees. People say there's a lot of trees in that lake, but it is a ton of trees.
The standing timber there is crazy. Like if you're standing up, there's a good chance you could throw yourself out of your boat there if you're not paying attention.
Oh, dude, I 100% believe that, especially in the back too. And I've known there's wood in the back, but not down near the dam like there is. Like there is so much that they can hide in. And that's where I think live scope is so important. Like you said, you got to get your bait so close to that wood. And if you didn't have it, like I wouldn't be throwing a spy bait around that stuff without it, with that. No, I wouldn't at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, you're going to lose a ton of stuff if you don't have it. So it's tough without it.
All right. So everybody wants me to do this. So guys, ask your questions here. We got the 1-800 phone number here. If you would like to ask any of us the question, 240-542-9877 is the 1-800 number. I already have a voicemail on here. Let me pull that. Let's see what I got here. Let me pull up the voicemail here and then ask all your questions down below. Let me get, where the heck is the app? And this is the next thing on the wish list, guys, is I am getting a second phone, a burner phone, so we got to do that. And perfect. All right. So let me see if I get this going here.
Who did you say we have a voicemail coming in?
Yep. Allegedly. Let me see if I can get it going here.
You're going to start getting some crank calls.
Yeah, God, yeah. Let's see who this is here. Okay. Perfect. All right, we are good to go. So the voicemail did not come through, but we're all set up. So give us a call and we'll get going there. Whoever that was, your voicemail did not save, so give us a call again. And then we got this here. Stephen Lloyd Fishing, Ace, when you catch a bass over 22 inches and or over 8 pounds, are you turning them in for citation? If so, how deep is your stack of plaques? Damn, that's a hell of a question.
Yeah. No, I catch them, weigh them. I will put them in the live well for a little bit. My kids like to mess with them and they like seeing them in there swimming around. So I'll toss them in there, let them cool down for a little bit, take a couple pictures and just throw them back. And I could get the plaques for them. I have one, I think, but yeah, I'm not too big on that. I'm just more about catching it, getting it back in the water.
Why?
I don't know, man. I guess I could. I mean, you have to get the citation, don't you have to call DWR and everything, get them to come in, certify it?
Yeah, you do.
I've heard, I think I was listening to one of your podcasts earlier this week about it. I mean, it's a huge process to get that done. And there's a huge chance that'll kill that fish.
It really will.
So I mean,
So I think we have our caller here now, guys.
oh, okay.
Yep, I can hear you. So, caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's your name? It's Domino's Pizza.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from? All righty. That was
Are they
probably
answering?
Phil. Yep, that was probably
No.
Phil. And as always, that's the thing about this. First time. Anyway, continuing.
I believe
Um,
a photo of a fish
Yeah,
over
the whole
22
plaque
gets a
thing is
plaque.
interesting because of how much work actually goes into doing all the plaques.
So I've got 3 fish out of Frederick that are over 8. So I would have 3 plaques from there, but yeah.
Here we go. I believe just a photo of a fish over 22 inches gets a plaque. Really? I'd have to Google that.
Yeah, because I thought you had to weigh it by a certified scale.
All right. We got another person trying to call in here. Let's see who we got here.
I could hear your phone buzzing.
All righty. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello. Who's this? Yep. Hello. Who is this? What's your name? Where are you calling from? What's your name? Where are you calling from? Must be service on my end. Alrighty, perfect.
Were they saying anything or no?
Just saying hello, hello, hello over again. Virginia Game will review the photos and accept or deny.
I don't have, well, no, I've got the golden rule, but mine only goes up to 18 inches, I think.
Really?
Other than that, I don't have a board. Yeah. I don't have a board that would have the length for it.
Oh, interesting. And then we got one more here. Let me get this one up. All you have to do is photo the fish on the scale and photo of the measurement. I would personally take it in though, just to have them look at it honestly.
Yeah, and I thought that's what you had to do. I thought you had to get a certified scale, get the DWR out, and a witness for it. So to me,
I think that was going to happen with McCluskey's crappie, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but I think, like I see in the comments there, they said it might be for just state records, which I think his was.
Because and then here we go for Jared. Yeah,
you talked to, I forget his name, but you two talked about it in a podcast.
Yeah. Okay. I think I know who you're talking about.
I forget his name, but yeah, you definitely talked to someone about it.
Deep Creek Lake. Yep. Deep Creek Lake. Absolutely. Yeah. The guy from Deep Creek Lake, he has like over like 22 citations to his name. And yeah, for a citation, I think it is differently than a state record, which is like with Odenkirk.
With Odenkirk. Yeah.
Yeah. State records are different. Yep. The Jeremy Nicely. Yep. Absolutely. No, I agree with that. Yeah, I don't know. And that's something too. It's like if you could catch a state record, but you had to kill it, would you do it?
No, I couldn't do it personally. Catching a big fish like that, like my live well isn't that nice on the boat. I mean, unless I bring my cooler system. I mean, I have one on my boat, but it's not worth keeping the fish in longer than 30 minutes to an hour.
Mm-hmm.
But again, to keep a fish that size and know you're going to kill it for a state record, I couldn't do it.
I would be really frustrated with that. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe a world record.
If I have the pictures and the scale, at least I know I got it. But yeah, I wouldn't kill that fish for it.
And we got a couple more here. And then what's the place that you want to fish, or what type of tournaments are you going to fish next year?
I'll be at the res tournaments again. I'd love to fish bigger tournaments. I just don't have a big enough boat for them. Like I knew I could fish as a co in some of the BFLs. I've done it once and actually zeroed on it down at Smith Mountain Lake. But I don't know. It's hard fishing as a co in those. So I'd like to fish it as a boater.
Especially when all you've done your whole life is, control the boat. I think that's where it's weird. It's like going from the front of the boat to the back of the boat again.
Well, I don't control it though. Matt's usually the one who sits up there and will fish it, and then we switch off here and there. So it's not like I'm in the back the whole time or in the front the whole time.
Okay.
But if I was in a big tournament like that, yeah, I'd rather be in control than sit in the back and get second pickings.
If you could get a boat, then would you want to fish the BFLs in those type of tournaments, or would you still want to stay local?
No, I'd fish the BFLs. I'd love to fish other places, bigger waters. I just don't have really the time or the boat to do it. I mean, I guess I could do it in the John boat, but again, time's a big thing.
Mm-hmm. Especially now having kids, like to be able to do that and then uproot and move around. It's a completely different lifestyle. It really is.
Yeah, because I talked to Matt about when he fishes his BFLs and everything. You get out pre-fish a couple of days before, and I definitely can't with work and everything. I can't do that.
But true for him, that's also like his job, which is a little different.
Yeah.
That he doesn't have to tell his boss where he's going, and then which is like it's just
he is his own boss.
Yeah, he is his own boss. For better or worse, he is his own boss.
Yeah.
We got Bassin with Big E. I caught my PB 24.5, and you have to have a measuring board and pick to get length citation and certify scale to get weight verified. I had to print out my plaque, just a piece of paper. Interesting. I wonder if that's specific to Virginia or if that's all states.
I do. So mine is from Virginia off of Gaston. And I want to say it's a citation. I think my dad sent the information in. And the only reason it was a citation is because of length. I think it was 7.5 pounds, but it beat the citation length. I think it was 20. I want to say 22.5, but I could be wrong.
Interesting. I wonder.
Yeah, it is just a piece of paper. It wasn't a plaque.
And that's what's kind of sad too. I think it was a plaque. It'd actually be way more envious of people. People would actually pursue that a lot more than if it is just a piece of paper. But the idea of just catching citation fish and different fish, that's not something people like to do. It like if you had to catch and so in saltwater really made this sexy where it's like you could do the Grand Slam, which is I think the flats Grand Slam or the backwater. Backwater is a redfish, a snook, and I think a tarpon. That's pretty cool. You don't really have that in freshwater.
Well, some people do the Grand Slam where they find out the species in that lake and then we'll try to catch every one.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least for the day. At least that's what I would call a Grand Slam. Go out in one day and catch the species that are in there.
All right, guys. Let's make sure I get through everyone's questions here. Let's see. SB, I hope we hear from Boyd Duckett Jr. tonight. I really hope so too. I don't know what's going on. I must have punched some buttons by mistake. But by the end of the show, I can try to give Boyd Duckett Jr. a call again. Hopefully I can get things fixed up there. We got this thumbs up. Everything's so good. Looking forward to the show next week. Yes, we will have Doc on the show next week live from Jake's Bait and Tackle. The only lake I fear is Sleepy Creek. Sleepy Creek will be an interesting one to shoot a Hidden Gems episode on. That one's a pretty cool lake.
I want to go there. I've looked it up on the maps. I've had a buddy of mine who's gone up there and fished. And he said it's good. I like to get up there with live and see what it's all about.
Massive lily pad fields. Massive lily pad
fields.
That's
what he said. He's like, there's lily pads everywhere.
It really also has the watercolor of Florida, that tea stained color. Yeah. That's what it really feels like. But it's so weird to get to. It's like you have to go up a side of a mountain and back down, and it's a clay road. So it's a little sketchy.
That's West Virginia for you.
That pretty much is.
What do you expect?
That's not
nowhere.
Let's see. We got that. Let's talk Woodbridge. We got that one done. We got the depth of Lake Frederick. Okay, perfect. I think we're getting all these questions done. All you have to do is photograph the fish. Virginia game will review the photo, accept or deny for state record. Odenkirk. I think we got all the questions done. Perfect. Guys, thank you so much. Coming up, when does the Fountainhead tournaments get started again? And when will you start pre-fishing?
They probably going to start. I don't know. It changes. Sometimes it's early March, sometimes late March.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll definitely be in March. And if I'm going to pre-fish it, I'll probably go out a couple weeks before. Because again, it's leading up until there. I'm only going to be at Frederick. That's it. Yeah. But no, I'm excited for the next season. Matt, we're coming for you.
What time of year do you like to fish the most?
It's funny. It used to be summer. I used to love summer fishing, like early or late spring, early summer, but now it's just winter. It's just when the big ones bite, man. And it's so much easier in live.
What I like about it the most is like there's not a lot of people out in the water. You get the water to yourself, and I feel like now
Yeah.
more and more tournaments and more people are understanding like the coolness of actually being out there at this time of year, and it's losing that for me a little bit. Like not completely. I still think winter is the like for smallmouth. This is my favorite time to get out on the rivers, the Shenandoah, Upper Potomac. This is when you're gonna catch some freaking footballs, absolute footballs.
Yeah, I probably should go fish the Shenandoah right now too.
Oh,
Because
dude,
I'm
yeah.
sure there's some giants you can catch right now. And
Riverton.
again, yeah, oh yeah. But the only problem is I've actually gone over the Shenandoah on 7, and the water looks so low. I don't think I could launch my boat out of Riverton right now.
It might be sketchy. I mean, honestly, you should come up to Big Slack with me. I mean, we might catch a big one, or we might catch 700 like 12 inchers. But like,
That's fine, man.
oh, dude. I mean, last tournament I caught like 40 fish. I got third place with 5 pounds. I mean, it kind of tells you about that place. But the water temperature was 48 degrees, and they were still chewing. Like, it's insane how cold that those guys will keep biting. Let's see. We got a good one here. The Delaware has a good program with paper certification and 5 species is elite. Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. I just would like, it's not just a paper. It'd be cool if they could put a little money into like a plaque. I don't know.
Yeah, even if you had to pay for it, I bet more people would go for it. You know, if you get a plaque from them. Yeah. Oh,
100%. And we got Tyler. When are you going to start guiding on Frederick?
For Tyler, I know you're coming up here soon. I'll take you out for free, buddy.
Ooh.
No, he's a friend of ours.
Now, do you have any more baits that we forgot to show off here before we wind down for the evening?
No, not really, man. There's a couple I have in this bag that I could show you, but that's what I throw out there in the winter.
You got a couple more in the bag?
Yeah, I do have some here. It's mainly colors that I throw that have worked more than others. But I told it's the rig, but yeah, I don't know if the color actually means a lot. But it could. So I don't know if I want to give it all up. Maybe after the winter is over, then I'll show everybody.
We'll save that for the next live stream that we do on the water, guys. But then again, here we go. Here's another good one. What's Riverton like?
Dangerous. Launching out of there is first time I went there, I went with McCluskey actually. And while we're running like 20 miles an hour. And I look over the side of the boat and we're in a foot of water. And I was like, oh my God. He's like, it's okay. I know where we're going. We're good. But until you get down towards like, what is that? The bridge of 66. Once you get under there, you're fine. It's a lot. I mean, it's probably the deepest down there is maybe 12 feet. No, actually there's a spot that's probably about 20. But further up, it's shallow.
Down by the dam you're talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a small stretch though, Riverton. And that's where you got to come up to Big Slack.
It's not that big, but the one stretch that we do fish, it's a couple 100 yards.
All right, guys, we're going to try this again. I've been playing with this audio thing offline. Let's see if we can get this to work here. Here we go.
Is it working?
I don't know what any of that means. Did he say red hot? Oh my God. Okay. So we're going to shut down the phone calls because Lord knows the people are going to be calling.
It's not John. I wish it was though.
Ace sipping some peach goodness. Yeah, yeah, actually can't wait to listen to this live. Yep, 100% guys. And then for all of my Patreons, that's tomorrow night. We're going to do a Patreon only live stream as well. Ace, what do you have coming up on your schedule?
Fishing wise, not much, man. Really, anytime that I'm off work and I have time, like I said, you can find me out at Frederick. That's where I'll be.
Mm.
That's where I'm going to take you later in the summer or the winter.
No, yeah, dude. Anytime you
Yeah.
want to go fishing, I'll be around, ready to go. Again, guys, please, like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out in the algorithm. A little bit shorter live stream tonight, but don't worry. Tomorrow we come back with Patreon only members stream as well, and then we'll be doing a live stream from the water either Thanksgiving or Friday, and then next Monday live from Jake's for the 2-year anniversary show. That one's going to be a long show. Stay tuned for that. Please, the people that did win a gift card tonight, email me, message me, get a hold of me, and you'll get your gift card. Like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time on Fishing the DMV. Bye.
You're listening to Fishing the DMV with your hosts, Thomas